This could bring down the Liberal government. Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. I hope you're having a great day. Well, it was an explosive day on the Hill, to say the least. I had just finished recording a video and collecting all of the other clips that I was going to put together, and I was just about to start editing when this came up and changed everything.
After 9 years, Justin Trudeau has shown that he's not worth the cost or the corruption. The Speaker has just recently ruled that all House business, all government business must be put aside while members of Parliament consider Liberal corruption. First, we had the case of the Green Slush Fund, the SDTC fund, where the Auditor General found over $330 million funneled to Liberal insiders' own businesses. She found massive conflicts of interest. Basically, these Liberal-appointed board members who made the decision as to which companies got money, taxpayers' money, from this fund, were funneling that money to their own businesses or to the businesses of their close friends. So the Auditor General has blown the whistle on that, yet the government refuses to hand over the documents to the RCMP. The House of Commons passed a production order demanding that all documents, all information that the Auditor General uncovered, plus any documents that might exist in any government department related to this scandal, be handed over to the RCMP. The government is refusing, and as a result, the House will be seized with this corruption matter until they hand over the documents. And then we have the case of the other Randy, where a senior Trudeau minister is alleged to have been sitting around the cabinet table while also involved in his own business's affairs. His business partner was summoned before a committee and refused to disclose all the information, refused to name who the other Randy is, refused to hand over all the documents and answer the questions that were put to him. And as a result, the House is seized with that motion as well. So what we're saying today is that the government will not be able to, the House will be staying on these corruption matters until the Liberals hand over all the documents to the RCMP. While Canadians are suffering with the cost of living crisis that Justin Trudeau caused with his runaway inflation, while millions of Canadians are visiting a food bank for the first time and young Canadians are giving up on the dream of home ownership as housing costs have doubled under the NDP Liberal government, it's clear once again that the Liberals will always stop and enrich their friends while they impoverish Canadians.
Well, this is really explosive because this happened before question period. During question period, I recorded an exchange between ParlVu and Justin Trudeau regarding this very thing. Let's take a look.
Tax Carney, at the moment of his appointment as the head of the economic task force of this government, said he wanted to do something and not be something. So what has he done? Well, he's now sending out fundraising letters to raise cash for the Liberal Party. 2, he's asked for $10 billion of corporate welfare to help his multinational corporation take over the pension funds of Canadians. And he's got his pal a $2 billion loan. Did the Prime Minister, yes or no, clear all of these actions of carbon tax Carney with the lobbying commissioner?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, one of the things we're seeing right across the country are experts and people who've succeeded in all sorts of different backgrounds stepping up to push back against the cuts and little vision that the Conservative Party has been putting forward. The fact is, the Leader of the Opposition is offering cuts to services that Canadians are relying on and offering tax breaks to the wealthiest, like Conservatives always do. We're there to invest for every generation. No wonder Canadians from all backgrounds are stepping up to be part of pushing back against that Conservative leader.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
You, Mr. Speaker, have said that this Prime Minister is violating the rules of the House by refusing to hand over SDTC documents on a corporate welfare scandal of $400 million that the Auditor General says involved 186 conflict of interest, where bureaucrats, top officials in this Liberal government, were giving millions of dollars to their own companies. Will the Prime Minister hand over the information to the police? And if not, what's he got to hide?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the Conservative leader just mentioned both the police and the Auditor General. Let me say what they have said. Both the RCMP and the Auditor General have raised concerns about how this motion jeopardizes their independence in serving Canadians. The Conservative Party wants to play politics with Canadians' charter rights. We will not support that.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
So his idea of a charter right is that you have the right as a top government executive to take $400 million of other people's money and give it to your own company and then hide the criminal evidence from the police. Well, Mr. Speaker, Canadians have the charter right to know where their money went. So will the Prime Minister accept your order and the vote of this House to turn over the documents to the police so that we can put the bad guys in jail and get back the money that was stolen?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, once again, the Conservative Party has demonstrated that it is willing to upend the independence of institutions like the RCMP and the Auditor General for political gain. That is what they are proposing to do. They want to direct investigations. They want control over judicial processes in their details. The reality is, Mr. Speaker, that's banana republic style behavior that the Conservative Party is pushing. We will always stand up for Canadians' charter rights and the independence of our institutions.
Well, Trudeau, we know that that is bullcrap. And Member of Parliament Larry Brock, who was a 30-year veteran criminal prosecutor, thinks so as well. Let's hear what he had to say.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, the ask is very simple coming from the Conservative Party. It is get the documents over to the RCMP. And the member's background, professional background, I would have thought would have raised some flags in terms of concerns about the Charter of Rights. Would raise some concerns when you have the RCMP and the auditor saying or indicating that they are not comfortable, extremely not comfortable with the tactic that's being used. What the member doesn't make reference to is the internal audit that was done, the audit by the Auditor General, by the questioning that was put forward in standing committees, but rather in its preoccupation of hunger for power is prepared to do whatever it takes, even if it's overriding a charter. Is he not concerned at all about the behavior of the Conservative Party with that respect to that?
The Honourable Member for Brantford-Brant.
Mr. Speaker, the hunger that I proudly represent as part of this Conservative Party, the next governing party of this nation, is the hunger for transparency and accountability, a term that is completely lost on that member, completely lost with this Prime Minister and his front bench, because we've gone down this road time after time after time. There's some misconception that somehow assisting a law enforcement with investigating criminality surrounding this scandal is somehow a breach of charter rights. That is hogwash. The police all the time seek resources to receive information. Parliament, the supreme authority when it comes to releasing documents, has that power. We are simply assisting the RCMP to do their job. We're not directing them to do their job, as some might argue to the contrary. We are merely assisting them.
As we know, on September the 16th, Andrew Scheer spoke to a question of privilege and asked the Speaker to hold the government in contempt. Now, the Speaker put that off when Andrew Scheer rightly pointed out that he didn't have to. He had all the information he needed to make that decision, and the decision was fairly easy. So I'm assuming that this decision before question period was in fact the Speaker's ruling. And that is very interesting, because if indeed the government is prohibited from moving on to any government business other than this corruption scandal until it is completed, then that's huge. Just after question period, the House voted on the block motion to have their private members' bill go to royal assent, and it passed. The Conservatives, the Bloc, the NDP, the Green Party, and all of the independents voted for it, but the Liberals didn't. So if you believe the Bloc, they will enter a non-confidence motion after October 29th if it does not go to royal assent. And of course, that will be supported by the Conservatives. The question is, will the NDP support it? Well, because of this new corruption scandal, they may feel like they're obligated to. And because it's entered by the Bloc and not the Conservatives, they may feel like they can save face by voting for it because it just wasn't the Conservatives. But the question is, will they have to? The last time a major scandal threatened to put Liberals in jail, the Liberals shut down Parliament. They called an election. The question is, will they do it this time? I personally hope they do, because Pierre Poilievre will be a much better prime minister, and I think he'll continue to hold the Liberals to account. I think that he will continue the investigation once he becomes prime minister. But that's just my opinion. I'd love to know what you think. Put your comments down below. And while you're at it, please like this video, share with your friends and on social media. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel and click that bell notification so you never miss another video. Also, please join me on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific time for my live stream, where you can join in on the conversation. Finally, there are links in the show notes of this video to all of my social media, including a link to my website, where you can sign up to take the Canadian Firearm Safety course. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.